the last but very important question. When do you think that you will become a...
Well, I'll let you interview me when that happens. So.
Oh, you promised. 안녕하세요 여러분, 김지윤입니다. 네, 오늘 또 굉장히 또 특별한 한 분을 모시고 인터뷰를 하려고 합니다. 일본의 전 외무상 그리고 전 방위상을 지낸 현재 중의원이죠. 고노다로 중의원과 인터뷰를 준비를 했습니다. 고노다로 중의원은 고노다마로도 잘 알려진 고노 요헤이 전 관방장관의 아들이기도 하죠. 오늘 한일 관계, 또 미국과 일본과의 관계, 그리고 중국에 대한 일본의 정책, 이런 것에 대해서 여쭤보려고 합니다. Well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing your time for this interview.
Thank you for the invitation.
Let's get to the point. A few weeks ago, President Trump and Prime Minister Ishiba had their first summit. So how do you evaluate the result of summit?
I think the first meeting went very well. President Trump confirmed everything we have been building up to, even under the Biden administration. And they got to know each other. So we are hoping they'll continue the discussion.
I remember in 2023, Korea, Japan, and the United States signed Camp David Agreement. Mm-hmm. A lot of experts actually said it is a major step forward in strengthening trilateral cooperation of those three countries. As of now, all three leaders are not in office. Two were replaced. One is awaiting for impeachment verdict. So, do you think the agreement, the Camp David agreement, will continue to be effective?
Yes, our trilateral relationship is not really based on leaders' personal relationship. It's more state-based relationship. In East Asia, it used to be so-called hub and spoke, the U.S. sitting in the middle, and there are bilateral relationship, U.S.-Japan, U.S.-Korea, U.S.-Philippines. But now, I think those hub and spoke has moved into so-called lattice relationship. So U.S. is probably, first among equals. Mm-hmm. So I think this trilateral relationship is one of this lattice relationship. U.S., Japan, ROK, Quad. There are other mini laterals, and this is one of the core relationship in this lattice in Asia. So it doesn't really matter who's sitting as a head of a state.
Well, still, is there anything that you think the challenges remain?
Well, honestly speaking, we are not quite sure what's going to happen in Washington, D.C. It could be a bit rocky, but I think the general direction is not going to change.
So general direction is going to be the same, but maybe some minor...
Well, yes, three of us will have to hold up the common values like democracy, rule of law, human rights. I don't think it will make major turns into the future. We don't know what's going to happen between the United States and China, and relationship with China, North Korea, Russia, that's uncertain. So there are a lot of unknown things, but I think we have common goal. So I'm not quite worried about the relationship among the three countries.
At the joint press conference after the summit, President Trump and Prime Minister Ishiba, they agreed to cooperate more closely, particularly against China's aggression. How concerned is Japan about China's flexing its muscles in Indo-Pacific? For example, if China takes aggressive action against Taiwan, how do you think Japan would respond or should respond?
When we invited China into WTO, we thought China has obviously different political system, but if they come into the global economy and be a good team player, I think everyone would benefit from China's participation. That was the hope we had. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way.
Were we naive?
And as China's economy grew, they invested in armed forces, and they are trying to use the forces to influence. So we really need to be careful. I think we need to do whatever we can to defend our territorial integrity. If something happens to Taiwan, I think the United States will come to defend Taiwan, and our self-defense force will probably try to protect U.S. forces going out of the bases in Japan. I don't think we were directly involved in warfare over Taiwan. I think we need to provide necessary assistance to U.S. forces.
I remember around 2014, 2015, China, they considered among the trilateral relations, Korea is the weakest link. What do you think about that assessment?
Well, Korea's economy back then was very strong with China. And I think the Korean economy benefited from the trade with China. So China tried to take advantage of that. But we all know what the Chinese Communist Party trying to do, or Xi Jinping trying to do. Chinese economy is not like old Soviet Union economy. It's very extensive. It's intertwined with the global economy. Even the Japanese business community trying to get access to Chinese market. I think we need to be very careful, and we need to draw certain lines. We need to see how China trying to use their economic influence on politics or security. If all the like-minded countries have sort of unified front vis-a-vis China, I think we will be able to prevent China trying to take advantage of that.
Whenever there's a missile test by North Korea, Japan always reacts quite strongly, maybe even more strongly than Korea does. So I was wondering, what do these missile tests mean for Japan, and what is like the level of threat perception by Japanese people?
Honestly speaking, we are not quite sure what Kim Jong-un wants. He seems to be putting a lot of economic resource into developing missiles or maybe nuclear weapons. I think we need to be very careful. I mean, they are just testing the missiles. I think we need to be very careful that Kim Jong-un has wrong idea how we going to react to his aggression. Unfortunately, we don't have diplomatic relationship with North Korea. And we do have Japanese abductees still in North Korea. So there are some important issues that we need to solve. But hopefully one day they will stand down this missile and trying to come into the global community. I don't know what it takes to convince Kim Jong-un that'll be the better course for the people living in North Korea. But I think we need to be putting necessary pressure on North Korea. And sometimes, if they're willing, we need to see what Kim Jong-un actually wants and try to build a relationship once we solve the abductee issues or missile issues.
So how do Japanese people feel whenever there's a missile test and sometimes it goes over Japan?
It could hit aircraft or it could hit ships. So it's a dangerous. We really shouldn't let them continue. I think we need to put the pressure on North Korea where this would end up. We keep sanction, and China, Russia is providing necessary assistance to North Korea. So we really cannot put more pressure on North Korea maybe. We continuously need to let Kim Jong-un know that is not acceptable globally.
So it's a real-time threat, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So what is the most urgent diplomatic challenge for Japan?
Well, it's how we going to prevent China's military aggression in the region. That's probably the number one issues. But as North Korea sending so many soldiers to the Ukrainian front. It used to be the European front and Asia front, and we are talking to Europeans, we need to support each other. But now the perception is we have one front, we really need to work together to prevent aggression of those dictatorships.
So President Trump came back to the White House. So how is Japan reacting to that? I mean, we both are allies of the United States and may face similar challenges together, like on tariffs and security as well. So I was wondering how Japan is preparing for that.
Well, US is the most important ally for Japan, but just like the Trump 1, Trump 2 is unpredictable in a sense. If you have some allies, you wanted to coordinate the strategy and you wanted to coordinate the tactics. You wanted to exchange information. I don't know if that is possible with Washington for the next 4 years. Now President Trump's talking about the tariff. I don't think anything coming from ally country going to be a security threat to the United States. At the same time, there's a threat coming out from China, Russia, and we need to coordinate the strategy with the United States.
In 2020, President Trump suggested Korea join G7, and I remember Japan opposed to the idea. So what is the position of Japan on Korea's becoming the member of G7? If that happens, it's going to be G8.
Well, G7 has been established framework. If we are to add Korea, what about Australia? What about New Zealand? What about Spain? We probably need to create a different framework for the like-minded countries. G20, it's a different framework.
Yeah, China's in there.
If we are to create an additional one, we'll probably need to invite a like-minded country so we can talk about not just the economy, but the security issues, political issues as well.
Well, in the past, Japan and Korea had some rocky relations, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But recently, the two countries are getting very closer. And definitely Japan is most favored travel destination for a lot of Koreans. And the recent survey revealed Japanese attitude toward Korea got improved a lot. It was really remarkable to see that those favorable sentiment toward each other, particularly among the young generation. So I wonder, how do you see the future relations between Korea and Japan? Because to maintain the trilateral cooperation, it is very vital for Korea and Japan cooperate each other.
I think a lot of Japanese, especially the young generation, love K-pop and Korean cultures. And we receive so many Korean tourists coming to Japan, so the bilateral relationship is going quite well. Some time ago, there was a talk of free trade agreement discussion between Japan and ROK. Didn't materialize, and I really regret we couldn't make a deal. It was supposed to be not just the economy, but almost free travel between Japan and Korea. The lawyers could practice in both countries, maybe doctors as well. We can have similar rules for telecommunication, media. It would have been something similar to EU, something similar among the like-minded country in Asia. So I think we still need to pursue not just the trade and economy, but more of a bilateral relationship plus free trade, free travel kind of relationship between Japan and Korea. I think it would be the cornerstone of not just the economy, but the security relationship in Asia as well. So I think it'll be, hopefully, when we say US-Japan ROK Trilateral, Japan-Korean relationship will be the base. And then we'll put the United States as plus one kind of thing would be necessary in the future. So I think we need to continue working with Korean counterpart to build a better relationship between Japan and South Korea.
What do you think the challenges still remain?
I think it's going quite well. It's unfortunate that President Yoon has to go through this impeachment. Whatever happens to the president or whatever happens to the next president, we could continue to work closely.
Let's see. The last but very important question. When do you think that you will become a Prime Minister of Japan?
Well, I'll let you interview me when that happens. So
Oh, you promised. Okay, I think that's it for today. I know you have really busy and hectic schedule, so I'll let you go. And thank you again so much for sharing your time.
thank you very much.